Hello, this is Jeff Reed, and I'd like to talk to you for a few minutes about the carnivore diet. I've been on, I've tried many different ways of eating over the span of the last, I guess, 30 years or so. I'm 55 years old now, and the first specific diet that I ever tried in my entire life was at the age of 19. I tried a diet called Fit for Life, and it was very popular back in the mid 80s. And I have to say that did not work out well for me. I was in college at the time, and I was doing this diet on what I had available to me in my small dorm room, and it did not go well. I have never been hungrier in all of my life. And so after that, I went back to just eating a regular, standard American diet for a while. And then I decided that I was going to join the low fat craze. And so I was eating, snack wells and all that other crap that had the fat taken out of it, and they loaded it down with sugar to improve the taste. But because fat tastes wonderful, and you take that out, you have to substitute something, and so they put a lot of sugar in it. Um, and I'll just say right now that sugar is an out and out poison. It should not be consumed by anyone who cares about their health. It is not a food. It is a food-like drug that has similar effects on the brain to cocaine. In other words, sugar lights up the same parts of your brain that cocaine does, and it hits your pleasure centers really hard. That's why it's so hard to stop eating sugar. But back to my story, there was a time in my life, and again, I was young, I was in my early 20s probably, where I was eating a diet, believe it or not, of bread and low fat ice cream. That's pretty much all I ate. And yes, I was nutritionally deficient, and I craved sweets like you wouldn't believe. So I ate a lot of that ice cream, and I came to find out later that I was probably deficient in protein, because that can cause some really severe sugar cravings. So I moved on from that way of eating fairly quickly, and tried vegetarianism. Was vegetarian for a while, but and I did eat foods that most people would consider healthy, like vegetables and brown rice and stuff like that. But I also ate a lot of vegetarian, just junk food. I was a junk food vegetarian, and I really looked forward to vegetarian treats like tofu or soy based ice cream, and so that vegetarianism worked really well for me for a while. What I did was a Pritikin style diet. There's a diet out there called the Pritikin diet, and it's gone through some changes over the years, but it's basically a very low fat, very high carbohydrate diet. And I did great on it for a while when I was in my 20s. And but you have to keep in mind also that when I wasn't on the diet, I would go to Dairy Queen and buy a cheeseburger and fries and a one of their large blizzard treats, and then a couple of hours later I'd be out on the streets doing a run to burn it all off, or at least I hoped. But and I was in my 20s back then, and so for a while I vegetarian, like I said, worked real well, but it wasn't sustainable for me. And so I went back to just eating, regular American diet food. And by the time 2008 rolled around, I was topping out around 290, close to 300 pounds. I was cramming myself into size 44 jeans, which really, if I had bought new jeans at the time, I would have had to have bought 46 for sure, and maybe size 48 to be comfortable. Um, and one of the things that really got my attention about my weight was the Jeep I was driving at the time. I actually broke the seat frame when I was, from leaning back in the seat trying to adjust my extremely tight jeans. And so, I took it to the dealership to get it repaired, and because I had noticed that the seat was really loose, and they said, yeah, we very rarely see this, but you actually broke the seat frame. And I could tell just by looking in their eyes that they were laughing at the fat guy who broke the seat frame on his car. So that really woke me up, to the fact that my fast food, junk food diet was not only making me extremely fat, it was literally killing me. And I was so fat and so out of shape at the time that I could barely climb the stairs in our two-story house. And my area of the house, I lived with my dad at the time in Alaska, and I had the upstairs area. So, if I left my drinking glass upstairs or something, that was a really big deal because it was hard for me to get back up there to get my glass or anything else. And, so I started, that woke me up. The seat frame incident woke me up, and I went back to vegetarianism because that's what I knew as a healthy way of eating. And through a friend, I discovered the Beachbody Company after a humiliating snowshoeing outing. Like I say, I lived in Alaska at the time, and I went snowshoeing with a group of people, and I was the last one to finish. And, at that time, I had thought that I was in decent shape because I had worked, this was months after the seat frame incident, and I had lost weight down into comfortable size 42 jeans. And, I was working out on the treadmill and walking on the trails in Anchorage, and I thought, I've gotten myself into pretty decent shape, so I'm going to try this snowshoeing outing. And like I say, it was one of the most humiliating outings of my life because I was not in any shape to be doing that, and I found that out in a heck of a hurry because the beginning of the outing was a steep uphill climb, and by the time I got up the hill, I was breathing hard. And one of the ladies in the group looked back at me like, really? So I knew it was going to be a hard time at that point. But anyway, after that snowshoeing outing through a friend, I discovered the Beachbody Company, and I started doing their workouts. I started with Power 90 and progressed from there to P90X and Insanity and Body Beast. And by the middle of 2012, I started in late 2011, and by June or so of 2012, I was in fantastic physical condition. I had myself back down into size 34 jeans, and I was loving every minute of it, being able to wear the same size jeans that I wore in high school. And I was in my late 40s at the time. And so anyway, I do have a mental health condition. I have bipolar disorder, and unfortunately it raised its ugly head, and I had to go back on a medication that is notorious for causing significant weight gain. And I'm still on it, and it's called Zyprexa, or the generic for it is olanzapine. But it didn't matter how hard I worked out. I was on a high dose of it, about 30 milligrams, and I'm taking 10 now. Um, but it didn't matter how hard I worked out, how close I watched my diet, or anything. I was packing on the pounds again because of the Zyprexa. And so, I got lazy. I got discouraged and I got lazy and I stopped working out. And over the next few years, I packed on the pounds again. And in 2016, we found out that my father had a terminal lung condition. So to be close to family, we moved from Alaska to Texas, which is where I live now. And and I was Dad's full-time caregiver for a couple of years, which of course was very stressful. So I just ate whatever I wanted. And I also was drinking quite a bit. My alcohol consumption was pretty high for a while until I realized it was becoming a problem again, and I quit completely a few years ago. Haven't touched alcohol in about 3.5 years now, and I have no desire for it. But after my dad died in July of 2018, I realized that I really had let myself go again. So I went back to let me backtrack just a little bit, because a few years ago, through a friend of mine, I discovered the keto diet, and this was when I was preparing to take my vegetarianism to the next level and go vegan. And, thankfully my friends saved me from that fate, because I know now that veganism is basically fasting. That's how your body sees it, as a fast, because vegetables are very cleansing, but they're not very nutritious. And the internet is full of stories of vegans who destroyed their health with their diet for a reason. Veganism is not a healthy way to eat. It can be used as a short-term fast, but that's it. I mean, as a lifestyle, as an eating lifestyle, it is probably the worst thing that you can do to your body. And I strongly believe that, because like I say, the internet is full of stories of vegans who destroyed their health with their vegan diet, and found health again through adding animal products, meat and dairy and eggs, back into their diet. So anyway, I was about to go vegan, and this friend of mine says, "Hey, why don't you check out this keto way of eating? It works great for us." And so I thought, well, okay, I'll at least give it a shot. And I looked at it, and it was meat. It was meat heavy. It was a lot of dairy. It was a lot of eggs. And, my thinking was, from my vegetarian days, how can you eat all of this unhealthy food, and how does that translate to the robust health that you people are enjoying? So, I went to I forget the name of the site now, but there's a keto site out there. There's several of them, of course, but I got myself an education on nutrition that I didn't have back in my vegetarian days. And I realized, and I know now, I realized, hey, this is the way that humans were meant to eat, is meat and fat, protein and fat. And there is actually no requirement for carbohydrate in the human diet. There's no such thing as an essential carbohydrate. So I went keto, and this was back in probably 2015, maybe 2016. And I did lose a couple of jean sizes worth of weight, and I felt amazing. And so I advocated heavily for the keto way of eating. And now that has turned into advocating strongly for a carnivore way of eating, because I found out that when keto allows for 20ish grams of I'm sorry, my screensaver kicked in, but keto advocates for about 20ish grams of carbohydrate per day, and carnivore is much lower than that. You know, there's is zero carbs except for what naturally occurs in the animal products that we eat, which is, of course, not very much carbohydrate, just a few grams a day. And so now I eat a diet very heavy on meat. That is the main course is burger patties, steak. I eat sausage. There's a sausage company here in the city where I live in Texas that's famous for their sausage and bacon and oh, I eat a lot of bacon. It is so good. And I eat a lot of butter. Oh my God, bacon. And oh my God, butter. Both are just so good. I love them. And this morning's breakfast was a ribeye steak with bacon. And I just didn't think about butter for some reason, but I've got 2 more steaks I cooked that I'm going to enjoy with butter and bacon. Oh my God. I mean, I love this way of eating. All the meat I want, all the variety of meat that I want, even though I usually just eat beef and pork, I can have any meat I want. Turkey, chicken, organ meats if I want to try them, but I have no desire to because honestly that doesn't sound like food to me. But, you know, a lot of people enjoy organs and that's fine. I just don't think they're for me. But, you know, how I got to carnivore is the same friend who recommended keto to me a few years ago also made me aware of the carnivore way of eating, although he stayed with his preferred keto way. I tried the carnivore and lasted 5 days, my first try. And then a few times after that, I lasted up until around 10 weeks, but I had not at that time kicked my carbohydrate addiction, my sugar addiction. Sugar is probably the most addictive food-like, drug-like substance in the world. It's extremely hard to quit, and it can take multiple times, multiple efforts. But now I'm on week 11, and I feel like I've crossed a major hurdle. Okay, I've finally done this carnivore thing for longer than 10 weeks. I'm on week 11 now. And, you know, I'm looking great, I think. I'm feeling great. I have once again lost 2 jean sizes in weight. These jeans that I'm wearing now they have a stretchable waist. They're size 40 with a elastic waist. And I was so fat 11 weeks ago that I could barely wear them anymore. If I'd had to buy new jeans, I was right back to where I would have had to have bought size 44 or maybe size 46 to be comfortable. And now if I had to buy a new pair of jeans, 40s might fit. Maybe it would still have to be 42 for comfort, but I've lost quite a bit of weight again, and I've lost several inches in my waist. So, you know, at the moment, yes, I want to lose a lot more weight. I'd love to be back in those size 34 jeans. But, you know, that's going to take a while. And, you know, at the moment, I'm still fighting the psych meds to lose weight. But my eventual goal is to get completely off of my psych meds. And right now, the only medication I'm taking is 10 milligrams of Zyprexa or olanzapine. And it does, you know, since I have bipolar disorder, it does help with my moods. It does help with emotional control, and it does help me sleep. And that really is what I use it mostly for, I think, is it does help me sleep, because it is in the class of drugs known as major tranquilizers. So it definitely helps with the sleep. Um, but so that's my story, and I really hope that you've gotten something out of this video. I just say, if you're new to the carnivore way of eating, give it at least a month to see what results you get from it. Give it 60 days or 90 days and see what results you get from it before you make a final decision on whether this is going to be your way of eating, because it might take at least 30, maybe 60, maybe 90 days to fully kick the sugar addiction. I mean, I'd be lying if I said that I never think about the sweet crap that I used to eat, because I do. It's just I have no real desire for it anymore. I mean, this last holiday season, I ignored all of the sweet crap, all the Christmas treats that were for sale in the various grocery stores. Walked right past them, went and bought my meat, and I was a happy camper. Did not eat any of the holiday, Christmas sweet crap. And the same thing with Halloween. Well, no, that's not true. I did buy one bag of Halloween candy. I ate what I liked out of it, and then I threw the rest of it away. And that was before I got back on carnivore, but I was disgusted with my sugar addiction at that time, because my whole life I've had a severe sugar addiction. I mean, my mom used to cook us this stuff that we called crust when I was very young, and all it was sweetened pie crust, but I loved it. And when my grandfather would visit, he would take me to the convenience store and buy me as much candy as I wanted. So, I'd end up with at least 5 or 6 candy bars. And, I can remember when, my sister and my friends were outside playing one day. I was in our TV room chowing down on a bag of cookies. And, I loved Little Debbie treats, their snacks. I've been known to eat an entire box of Little Debbie's and wash it down with a giant bottle of Mountain Dew. That's how severe my sugar addiction was. And that was maybe, I don't know, 8 or 9 or 10 years ago is the last time I did that. But my point is, my sugar addiction was severe. And I did other things, like my special treat, if I was really wanting to treat myself on a weekend or something, was to go to the grocery store and buy 3 donuts and a giant bottle of Mountain Dew and eat it all in one sitting. So yes, my addiction was severe, but I'm completely, totally free now of it, other than, maybe a fleeting thought here or there that, hey, do I miss this? And the answer is, yeah, a little. I still miss the sweet treats a little bit, but I have no real desire to eat them anymore. I mean, I work at Home Depot, and every day I pass their snack section up by the registers multiple times every day. And, it doesn't appeal to me, other than maybe the beef jerky. So I'm not thinking about the sweet stuff, the candy bars and all that crap at all. And in the break room, there's vending machines with all kinds of sweet crap, and I ignore them and quite happily eat my bacon and butter. Oh my God, bacon. And oh my God, butter. Oh yes. Do I get that kind of pleasure from sugar? No, honestly, I never did, and I still don't. And I still wouldn't if I did choose to eat it. I'm totally committed to this carnivore way of eating. I love it. I strongly advocate for it. And again, I hope this video has been helpful to you. Like I say, if you're just beginning, give it 30 to 90 days. See how you feel. See what it's done for you. See how much weight you've lost, and see what what we call NSVs, or non-scale victories you have in improvements in your health. And again, I hope this video has been helpful, and I'll see you next time.